Yo, what's good, YouTube? We are here with the tier changes for November. This is actually gonna be mad interesting for you. Well, specifically for me. These Alomolas and Heatrans gotta go, man. I'm a little bit sad, but it is what it is. You feel me? So, looking at this month, OU, Ceruledge, Alomomola, and Heatran. All very good mons. I'm not surprised Heatran went back up after dropping to UU. I knew it wasn't staying for long. It's too good. Shout out to my boy Garchomp, he's not here. Very sad day for Garchomp lovers. Upgrade to UU is Grimmsnarl, which means that, and you can't use him no more, which great for me, but that just means they're gonna like default to Light Screen Morgrim or something like that. And then these two I don't actually know that much about. I feel like last year it was been used by Freezeye, and I think people have been realizing that it's a little bit better than they're giving it credit for. Like, especially like the Terra Ground with Ice, which is the specific set that most people have been using recently. Toxicroak, I don't know what Toxicroak does. I guess them Gunshots be hitting. They have to be hitting on like, they have to be hitting bad, like hurt people. A Rapid Spinner gone from PU and now in NU. Solid. I mean, there's nothing really to say about this. I'm glad my boy Sandslash is up there though. I love this guy, little guy. Carried me through Black and White too, through that Elisa gym. But about the drops, really interesting drop we have is Empoleon and Torkoal, meaning that Sun is now completely usable for RU and UU, because Ninetales dropped to RU and Torkoal dropped. But this also means that we have another spinner in the tier, which will be really nice. Don't worry about the Geezing team. We're gonna talk about that later. But Torkoal dropping, the stats haven't been updated yet, or that hasn't been updated on Showdown. But having a Mon that, first of all, can't have their stats lowered, but can also bring on Sun for, let's just look at Photosynthesis Mons down here. These aren't even that bad. These are actually like, Sun for this is gonna be so good. Because you had to default to Ninetales, that meant you lacked a lot of like defensive utility. But you have this and this and this. But like, oh, if you want to add defense to them or something like that, but you don't want to do that. Like, these mons have very different niches. But like with that, you also got mons like with Chlorophyll, of course, Lilligant, who's actually dropping to RU. And as you can see here, both Sand users are dropping to RU as well. There was no reason for them to be using UU. I think they just got clacked by Rain. But you have things like Shiftry, Leavanny, Lilligant on PUBL, which would be really good. Low key pick, guys. Leafeon with Chlorophyll and like knockoff is so solid, especially with like the defense. Of course, this HP is a little bit bad, but this thing's pretty fast. I think it's coming off like 317, 319, 317. Yep. And so this is a really solid speed tier, and then you just do this, and you already have like 300 defense. So it's not like this thing is like frail, other than it being a grass weakness. But, not only that, I don't know if any solar power mons are not solar blade. Oh yeah, mons that get solar blade, so this might be useful. Zarude can do something. Solar power. Charizard is now getting a Sun user. Well, I guess not in his tier, which is great, because in P it would be insane. But nonetheless, some really good mons are dropping. I find the Ludicolo dropping pretty funny because it was terrorizing me for a while. Like, when I say for a while, I went like 2-6 versus Rain yesterday, and I was trying to record a video, and I genuinely was just like, yo, this video is gonna be so trash because it's just me mauling over literally everything. Because this team, it was like unbeatable for me. I beat it twice, but that's because they played really badly. Like, when I say really badly, I was like, bro, they had like, I haven't talked about it yet, but I can actually show you guys. But Pokeaim and D teams. UU. This is of course where you go to find Pokeaim's teams, if you didn't know that already. This team right here, nasty. Lepaberry Palmot to just Revival Blessing Ludicolo. This was a sinner. This is a Sinmon, bro. This makes me upset. Like, incredibly angry. Toadschool with Focus Sash and Terra Ghost. No Rapid Spinners here. For your spikes, Weather Ball and Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Giga Drain. This is like perfect coverage. The only thing that I found blocked it was Volcanion. which I made a team for, and I had Haze also to help me beat Azumarill, because Azumarill couldn't hit me super duper effectively, and I was faster than it, 220 instead of, and this is, by the way, you can't go 219, it's just a jump, but 220 specifically to make sure that I outspeed it and I can press Haze. Lovely Mon, love it to bits, really. But not only that, but yeah, this team was just, this was literally made. But we're seeing a lot of changes. I don't know if they're really important changes. Things like Empoleon dropping, like this Mon in UU, it's not gonna terrorize it, but having competitive versus a tier that actually has to use defog instead of rapid spin on most occasions, it's gonna be really nice. Things like, oh yeah, because people were using Parting Shot on Grimmsnarl. There's a lot of Mons here that lower stats, and I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. Like things like Sinistra, this lower stats, Strength Sap, and you might not want to stay in versus this because of Matcha Gotcha, but you aren't actually weak to the grass move. You're neutral, which means that you do this and you have some bulk to actually defeat it. But that also means you finna hit it hard and doesn't learn Scald. That's actually so sad. So you have to use Surf, Ice Beam, Surf, you know, Flip Turn, Stealth Rocks. Just a normal set, or like you can run lefties instead if you want to make it like a stall team, and just have Flip Turn and Rocks always set up. Things like that. What else? You know, I went against a Garchomp team yesterday with like support Garchomp, and it made me angry. I didn't lose to it. I went like after I went 2-6. I made this team. I made specifically this team to help me versus Rain. Guys, look, you guys are sleeping on this special Salomon set. Nobody's ready for this, bro. There's not a lot of switch-ins at the moment, except for Tredge. Tredge just does whatever it wants, but I can't really do it like that. There's nothing I can do about that part. But yeah, so like Volcanion is Volcanion, and now having things like drop is gonna be interesting. I have to revamp this team because Alomomola isn't here anymore, which means I don't have a Wish Passer, and I don't want to use Jirachi, or I was thinking about using Vaporeon. Vaporeon isn't a bad pick, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting tier. I'm very excited to see what people are gonna start creating with Empoleon and Torkoal, because this now means Sun's gonna be pretty interesting. Rain has a actual Steel type. Like, you don't have to use garbage mons anymore. You go to UU, you have Pelipper, you have your Barraskewda, you have your Basculegion, and these are both in UU, so people have been choosing this one though, because Shadow Ball is harder to cover. And then you have like your Grass type, which can either be a Mungus or Toedscruel. And then you needed a Steel, and Steel types was like, okay, of course you have Treads. I'll personally do this. Of course you have Treads, who's a rapid spinner. Toedscruel is also a rapid spinner, so if you want to use this instead and go rapid spin, always nice. And you still keep the Spore aspect, which is really nice. But yeah, you also have Mycelium Man, which makes it sad. But other than that, right? Steel types are a little bit iffy. Tinkaton is dropping now. Scizor, of course, is always good in rain. Heatran cannot be used in rain. Goodra Hisui was solid because of like, well, regular Goodra is more solid, but this is fine too. And then on these teams, you also, because like, as you can see here, instead of having this, you had the boy Ludicolo, who's an Enumon right now, who's going down even further. He's going down to PU, which is sad, but you know, thank God for me personally. I don't like dealing with this thing. So that means you have 2 grass types now, which means that your team doesn't get like absolutely shut down by electric types. And because this mon is just also a ground type, perfect. You resist Spore, weak to Hurricane still, but that's beside the point. And then you have Steel, as I said for the 13th time this time. Tinkaton, Jirachi, Treads, and these, I think Iron Treads and Scizor are probably your best options. You could always go down further in the tier and look for Steel types, But your best options were realistically Scizor, Treads, and maybe Tinkaton. I don't really think about Tinkaton that much, but like Treads is definitely good because you had a Rapid Spinner. And this helps you beat grass types. Well, really, Scizor helps you beat grass types, but this isn't too bad against grass because you can run AV on it and use Ice Spinner, stuff like that. Goodra Hisui is also just really good with on AV and being a mixed attacker with like body press and stuff like that. Really good mon. But yeah, so like now we're gonna have Empoleon, who's a water steel type, which is a better defensive typing, more Spadef based, and competitive as an ability, which is gonna be great. But that means you can add like realistically anything you want. You can add another attacker, because this team had to make up. Like you could still add Palma here, but that means you're missing out on the Azumarill. But you have a steel type now, because basically this was only here as a Volt Absorb, Terra Flying, you know, Revival Blessing one. This team won't change, but like if you want to, you know, a Moongus on physically defensive, stuff like that. There's things that you can know that feels like it makes sense. Gastro if you really want, but I don't double up on grass. But yeah, man, I think these tier shifts are gonna be pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing any other tiers. Oh, there also is one thing I want to look at though. One thing I do want to see. I'm gonna open it now. It was the OUver's formats and ban, which is really interesting to me. So, open link, browser, nice, and then boom. So, looking at UVers, you might notice some things about this. Rise to Ubers. Stall is dead, guys. I've been trying to learn UVers through my friend Frosty Random. I'll link his channel below and put it in, maybe in a card. But I've been trying to learn through him, so this should be really interesting to see. Dondozo being gone means Zacian might get banned now, because Dondozo was the best counter to it. There's not a lot of physical mons that like counter. So there's a lot of things that might be going on with like Zacian bans, Basculegion female bans, because that thing with Last Respects is insane. Even with like its middling 100 attack stat, that thing is absolutely bonkers. Yeah, giving this thing, it's 92, but you do this, and you do this, minus on ban Swift Swim, or you do Scarf adaptability at Last Respects, bro. It's just over. Like the game is finished. So people had to use Terra Normal with like water absorb mons. I actually did see a Volcanion with Terra Normal with Terra Normal, Roar, and water absorb on it, which I thought was really cool. But I'm not gonna use that in UVers. I don't know what I'm gonna use. Probably gonna use Chi-Yu Balance or something like that. But Gliscor getting banned from UVers, tasty for me, bro. I'm so glad. I don't want to see this mon anywhere for real. Like I don't want to see this. But this also means that one thing. Well, let me pull it up real quick. This means, oh yeah, they deleted already. There was a sample team that came out yesterday, and it immediately had to be like gone because Gliscor rose, which is really sad. But like, I don't like Gliscor. I never liked Gliscor. Seeing it, I mean, it's being suspected right now. Leave your thoughts below on that. Actually, I mean, I want to see it gone. It's ruining the metagame. I hear a lot of people talk about Goldengo as well. There's a lot of mons. OU's a mess right now. It's just a mess, but that's okay. It's gonna get fixed. I believe in Finch and the team. Osma, Zavgaba, and NJNP, all of them. I believe in. I definitely believe in them. They got it. Grimmsnarl rising to Ubers. No more screens. If you were using them before, maybe Dragapult screens now should be a thing. Like Clay Dragapult would be really nice. Okay, the best defensive mon in the tier is gone. Giratina was the best phaser, the best, like literally everything. Like this mon had everything in the book, and now it's gone. So, you know, without the lefties, you know, Terra Fairy, and you know, you had Hex, you had Roar or Dragon Tail. I usually used Roar. I think, what is it? I guess you could run both if you really want to, if you're a crazy person. Defog and then Willow, right? This is the set you need. This is the set that did everything you wanted. You could literally invest in either one you wanted. This, I don't know if you could. People need to start doing this, low-key. I think that's pretty funny. Off of 150, you might actually see some good usage on that. But like, you could literally, this mod could do everything. Like, it really just did everything. And this being gone really just means that stall is done for. Like, absolutely done for. There's still good mons, you know, Poison Arceus is still in the tier. But another good mon that dropped was Ghost Arceus, which should be really interesting. First of all, this looks gorgeous. I love what the ghost type rings look like. But what is it? Spooky Plate? We just got off a spooky month, so you know, Spooky Plate, Judgment, or if you really wanted to, and then I don't know if anything resists this fully. Not Judgment, but like Shadow Claw. I don't think you can fully resist both of these unless you're like a Steel Dark type, which is not in this tier. Yeah, I don't know. What are the Steel Dark types? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't use these. You can use Bisharp though, and I'll tell you right now, Frosty definitely uses Bisharp on Eviolite like a madman. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you could do with this. You know, recover, of course, and then just go, because this is always what you want. But cool thing I think is gonna happen. I think Urshifu might run a little bit more usage now. It being like, look at these bands, bro. Normal, Ground, Fairy, Water, Steel, Flying, Electric are all Arceus bands. Dude, all these OUver's is lacking ground types, like so bad. This is banned. This is banned. This isn't banned. This isn't banned. But realistically, you can't use these two as defensive mons like you can these two. This just got banned. You can't use this, can't use this, and you can't use this. Like, you have to go down to like using Garchomp for spikes now, which might actually see some usage because of Gliscor being gone now. No more Magic Bounce means that you don't really have a way of getting things off the field, or like keeping things off the field, which is a little bit depressing for players. But you know, it is what it is. I think I want to see. I'm gonna probably make a team with this though. I feel like Urshifu is probably gonna be pretty cool to be used, because now, you know, the things that block it, they are gone. Dondozo can't wall this. You know, Zacian is still in the tier, but I'm pretty sure it takes like, I think it's a 3-hit KO off of like Scarf, which is fine. Honestly, I don't mind that. Wicked Blow, critting all the time, CC, and then, you know, Iron Head if you really want. Terra Blast, Fire, you know. Steel is a defensive typing for Fairy, which is also really good. But yeah, stuff like that. Things also, Rising, Baxcalibur, and I did talk with Frosty about this earlier. He said I don't think we're gonna see a lot of Light Clay, Snow Warning, my girl, you know. Sadly, I like this mon outside of just setting snow, but we might not be seeing it really, which is a little bit sad, because things like Chi-Yu exist in this tier. And like, when I say exist, I mean it's like one of the most used mons. Like, this mon is absolutely nutty. And so not only that, but like anti-lead anything really can mess with this. You know, encores from, not encores, but taunts from Cyclizar. Like, you can get this out immediately, but then we just stuff your entire game plan. I don't know if they have any fairies types. Oh yeah, Mag. Oh, Mag. Oh, Mag. Mag specifically, bro. Like, you can't do anything versus Mag. Like, it's just over. And this means that they get like a shift gear off for fun. They can flash cannon you. You can press encore, but you're gonna be slower after that. And I'm not sure people are like EVing this just to be faster than, you know, in the future be faster than what, 348 I think? It's not even 350. But yeah, so like, this should be pretty interesting. Backs might like be used a lot. I'm assuming they're going to be using Thermal Exchange. But the problem with this is that Zacian is still around, and not even to mention Zamazenta Crown, or like regular Zamazenta as well. Zamazenta Crown just to resist the Dragon type moves, but Zamazenta regularly, you know, put a little defense in this, and you should be perfectly fine. Not 252, maybe like 176 or something like that. And then you can still put toughest in speed, put a little bit of HP. You know, still have a good time. This is not a good set, by the way. Do not run this. Do not run this. You do want max speed though. That's really important. But you could either run like Banded on CC, and this mon can't really do anything. If it's Fairy, then you lose like having ground as your coverage for EQ. Like you can still have it, but it's not gonna hit as hard, you know. So you know, you might see a little bit of has an ice not been used? Ooh. So these are all banned. Don't worry about these. But you could start seeing things like low-key this come in. This would actually be really, really good. Cause then you have a way of hitting Zacian for super effective damage, which I think is pretty funny. And because Dondozo's gone, you don't have like that really, really good defensive mon anymore. It's same with Gliscor being gone and Giratina. But Giratina already lost to like Icicle Spear, Scale Shot, right? And you could run this last time, I think it was SD on loaded dice. And this is the set that got it banned from OU. That and like the regular set, which was just malarkey. But this now means that like Slush Rush and then what, Life Orb? Or if you really wanted like Icicle, was it Icicle Plate? Yeah. You could run Icicle Plate or just like Never Melt Ice. And now you're running Icicle Spear again. I guess you could just run loaded dice. But now you can run Iron Head. And still have EQ. And this set just makes this. Like, it's not this speed you already don't have to worry about because you're super fast in snow. Which is like 251. What is that like? Times 2. 502. 500 is a great speed tier. That's faster than yeah, that's faster than Chi-Yu. I don't know if that would kill though. Actually, you know, it might kill, which is really nice. And you could always tear ground to make sure it kills. And you have SD here, of course. Behind the veil, this thing is nasty. So you might see more snow teams popping up, which I think would be really cool. Mons that just do well behind this. I don't know if Volcarona's banned. So now you have a reason to use like Volk. Like this is now a threat with Veil up, like a really big threat. You still have a Spathra, so a Spathra is really going to be really good here. With speed boost, you know, things that are usually run, those hyper offensive teams with Veil and Snow. I think that's better. But yeah, so like you still have a Chi-Yu in the back, just in case. And then, you know, pick your Arceus form. Like Poison would work here. Would Poison work? You want to like beat Steel, right? Fire. And then you don't have to use Chi-Yu. You can use whatever you want. But yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting. I want to see how the meta develops. Not seeing these mons is really sad. Like, Spectrier is pretty good, but like, this mon is severely lacking good ground types. And like, you don't want to waste something on like, these mons who can't really do anything. You know, you can't use Iron Tread, so that's another mon that's struggling. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how the teams end up changing overall, because like 1, 2, and 3 were basically like the building blocks of Stall, which was like, I'd say probably top 2 meta defining teams. And now because this core is gone, you now lack 2 physically defensive mons, an unaware user, and a mon with defog. So Blissey is gonna struggle now, because it doesn't have any good, like, this won't have any good partners. There's no physically defensive mons in the tier that you can use, because, you know, Corviknight's not there. Bro's right here. So it's just like, what is the next plan of action, you know? Iron Moth might be pretty good instead of like Chi-Yu, because low-key, when I say low-key, run Scarf on this. Like, you're already outspeed. And this isn't really that bad either. Chi-Yu is a little stronger, I think. Is it? Though it's weaker. But, you know, Beads of Ruin. So 197 special attack stat, basically. But yeah, this this actually might not be too bad. You get access to Sludge Bomb and stuff like that. Sludge Wave, sorry. But yeah, there's no... I don't think there's not going to be a lot of stall and Ubers this time around. I don't know what else could like help it out as much as those mods did. I guess Dialgo probably had to be used more. But again, there's no defoggers anymore. Like, Regieleki didn't drop because of Terra Ice. So you're lost 3 defoggers, unless you want to use like Conkeldurr defog, you know, Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz actually wouldn't be too terrible. This mon stats aren't terrible. Like defensively, you can try to do something, even especially defensively against like Palkia. I don't know how much damage it's taking, but you know, Weezing Galar might be really solid against those dragon types trying to hit it. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how this meta develops. You guys will probably catch a video on me changing these teams and like trying to make them work a little bit better. I did end up deleting the Volturn team because it lost Lomomola. But yeah. I'm not gonna believe this, but I completely forgot to talk about the usage stats like for OU and UU. Looking at OU, King Gambit 40%. This is insane. This is crazy. 40% I think is a little bit insane. But at a ban-worthy mon, we're only seeing about 20% on teams, which is what, 1 of 5? Yeah, which is still a lot, but like not as bad as this. King Gambit's still the most needed mon in the tier. You know, Roaring Moon in parentheses because it already got banned. Like Dragapult's still up here. Cinderace is getting up in usage. I think a lot of this like, Cinderace usage is because of Pinkacross's team, but also because this is just one of like Court Change is one of the best moves, especially for like going against webs and stuff like that. Blood Moon also banned. You see Sarah Ledge 35 is coming up, and you guys won't believe what Lando was at. Lando, you know, the cutoff is 4.52. Lando's at 4.56, so it was 0.04 usage away from not being an OU anymore, which is going to be very interesting to see, because if this falls, it just means that every single like OU staple at one point has now been UU, like Garchomp, you know, Heatran, Amoonguss. I think Amoonguss was UU before though, but like Heatran and Garchomp were really big to be UU mons. And now Lando, the king of Pokemon, you know, this mon's great everywhere. VGC, Mono type, like he is the mon, and seeing him drop because of Gliscor, who has the same exact typing but like better utility, would low-key be crazy. I think that'd be a bit unfortunate for the mon, but it is what it is. You still see Blissey and Toxapex usage. Both of them are probably there because of stall archetypes. So like Dondozo, Heatran, Toxapex, Blissey. Other mons you could possibly see on there like Clefable, Corviknight especially, Ting-Lu. You know, Alomomola is now probably like a Wish Passer on that team, so there's a lot of things that you can do. But yeah, Goldengo 27%, Great Tusk 29%, Iron Valiant 26%, things that we've already seen before. These mons have stayed about the same, but a mon that's risen a lot in usage from what I remember is Iron Moth at 23%. After the dragons got banned, you know, this has been seeing a bunch of usage, and this booster energy, sub, Fiery Dance, Dazzling Gleam or Energy Ball, and then last move Sludge Wave set has been just absolutely disgusting on ladder. I've run into it a couple times. There's ways to beat it, surprisingly. You know, I use Slowking Galar, and just like have to predict with futures and stuff like that. But yeah, this mon got really good, and I like seeing it. Ogerpon Wellspring's still up there, so that's not dropping anytime soon. But you do see Cornerstone at 34, so that might drop next month. Considering that it's not really being used, and Cornerstone in UU would kind of be crazy because that can like set up sweeps from the beginning, and getting a +1 defense boost instead of like Spadef or attack, low key can end a game. Because then you have +1 defense, +1 speed with Trailblaze, and then +2 with Swords Dance. Not even including the Sturdy that you already have. So, and then you also have like a rock move that hits, that doesn't miss, which is the best thing ever. But yeah, these usage stats are pretty interesting. I feel like nothing is unordinary except for a Lomomola, but everything looks cool. Rillaboom's still top. You know, Rillaboom's up there even after the Grassy Glide nerf. That mon's still really good with grassy terrain because you're activating grassy seeds on things like Sneasler, which is 14. You can put grassy seeds on things with stored power. You know, there's always a set that works around seeds. But yeah. There's also the also low-key Dragonite being 15. I don't understand how it's still being used. I love that mon to the bottom of my heart. I don't get it. I need to see what sets he's running, because I would love to run a Dragonite, especially after he lost Defog and can't be used defensively as well. But yeah, we can move on to the UU and other stats. You look at Ubers, Koraidon, Miraidon, Zacian C. What else do you guys expect? Like, they're on more than one of two teams at all times, except for Zacian. Zacian's a little bit less, but Miraidon and Koraidon are on every single team, no matter what. Like every other team. I think it's insane, but I don't know what else to expect from that, really. Like, that does make sense. But then you got, you know, Zacian, Arceus, Kyogre, Fluttermane, Arceus Ground, so I'm assuming the normal one is the E-Speed killer, of course, with like Shadow Claw or something. Groudon to set up Sun as well, but it kind of gets overshadowed by Koraidon unless you want a bulky Sun setter. Kyogre's Rain, like just immediate rain. Just like rain, water spout, Scarf, you know, it does whatever you really want it to do, right? Then you got mons like Arceus Ground, which I'm assuming is especially defensive straight for Miraidon, because, you know, you can only use Tinglu so much, right? And Groudon probably is the same thing. A way to beat Miraidon, which is really nice. Giratina O, you know, Levitate and Defog. Great mon. Low-key, UUver needs it, but we're not gonna talk about that. After UUver's losing their Giratina, now there's no Defog in the tier, which is a little bit sad, but it is what it is. UU, Iron Treads. That's all me, guys. I'm so sorry. I'll stop doing that. But yeah. I think UU is going to be a lot different with Heatran. There's probably going to be upsurges of fire types. So Chandelure actually dropped to RU because of Heatran just tanking every single hit. And then Tornadus T. You know, Tornadus T is Tornadus T. There's not a lot to say about that. Meowscarada, low-key, Okidogi has been really good against Meowscarada. I've used it a couple times. It is a pretty good check. And even against like Scizor and a lot of other physical mons, it's been pretty solid. But yeah, I think Rotom W still good, Scizor still good. Sandy Shocks has been, I feel like it's seen a usage like spike because it's good against Heatran, and that's what we really needed to see. There's not a lot of like Iron Treads is like one of the main ground types in the tier. You have Clodsire and stuff like that, but you know, Sandy Shocks has both electric and ground stab, so it's hitting basically everything except for like grass types. Cough Cough, Ogerpon, Teal Mask, it doesn't hit at all unless you're using that Terra Ice set. But if you want to waste Terra on Ogerpon, not waste, but if you want to use Terra on Ogerpon, that can get predicted, especially with like Rotom and Heatran, who can take it at least once. But yeah, so I think UU's looking alright. Garchomp and Garganacl, we both know, gone. Alomomola is now, you know, after being 8th, it's now OU, so we're not going to be able to see that anymore. So no, the wish passing is only OU now, which is a little sad, but, you know, I think people will find something else, or find other archetypes of teams. Especially me, like, I have to use Thundurus in a different way. But that's okay. I might just, you know, turn that into a Vaporeon instead of a Alomomola. And we might go from there, because there's not a lot we can do. Wish, Scald, Flip Turn, Protect. That's the moveset. But yeah, I think UU looks fine. RU, Crocodile still being a god. Bisharp up there as well. Not surprised. Bisharp's really good, especially with Eviolite. That thing is just a tank. Is god. You have Slitherwing. First impressions are super strong. It's flame charge sets, really. Azelf as lead, Diancie as a especially defensive or defensive mon. Yan Mega, I assume that's because like Terra, and then you go into the tinted lens bug buzz stuff. And then Fortress, you know, a rapid spinner. And then Noivern, Boomburst, I believe. Boomburst Mon, super solid, especially with like Scarf for specs. And because I think it's like 370 speed, you can run specs on it and it just outspeeds a lot of things. There aren't that many switch-ins, Diancie and Bisharp being the main two, I assume, and Fortress probably. And then you got Iron Thorns, probably been tearing it up down there with that D-Dance loaded dice set. Yeah. And you keeping the Jolteon up there, they decided not to ban it. I think it was like almost everybody didn't ban it, didn't ask for a ban. So that was pretty interesting to see. Goodra on a lot of teams, 1 of 4. Scyther on top in usage, 1 of 4 teams as well, a little bit more than that. Salazzle, Bruxish, Heracross, all very good mons. I'm pretty sure Salazzle's a lead. Bruxish is a Scarfer, and Tatsugiri also can be a Scarfer, but I know it's a Rapid Spin mon. Copperage is just a really good setup lead. Steel typing is great. Gligar is Gligar, you know. His father, Gliscor, is up there doing irreparable damage into the OU tier. And he's down here in NU doing irreparable damage with immunity instead of Toxic Heal, which makes it a little bit more manageable. Well, it makes it a lot more manageable. But, you know, with Eviolite and its defense stat is still crazy. So it's like, definitely still not taking damage and stuff like that. But it's still, you know, up there. You know, it still has access to knockoff, toxic spikes, everything like that. Super solid. And then Grimmsnarl being an NU. It rose to UU actually. So, or did it go from, I think it rose to RU or UU. So that's going to be interesting. Now, NU's not going to have a screens or a AV mon with Sucker Punch, which might hurt them more than it helps them. And then you have PU and ZU. I don't know enough about these tiers to make like guesses on them, but I'm pretty sure Charizard is like PU's strongest soldier. For Farigiraf with the Trick Room is definitely seeing a lot of usage because of like Trick Room, which yeah, that mon just actually starts destroying stuff in Trick Room, and I'll try to Trick Room. It's a really good mon. Sandslash rising up into NU, so the Rapid Spin mon is actually finding it a little bit more difficult. PU is gonna struggle a little bit more. There's not a lot of defog or Rapid Spin there. More Pico, whichever you say. They are a Rapid Spinner, so that should be all right. But ZU, I did see a Smogon post about Monferno earlier, which I thought was pretty cool. But I don't even speak on ZU. I don't know what they're doing. Stonjourner's up there, probably OHKOing everything in the tier with that 125 attack stat, and taking and dying to like a Sunkern with Energy Ball. But you know, they're doing their thing. I just wanted to make sure I got this out of the way, and you know, make sure I got the usage stats in. And once again, this is the OU, very solid tier. Clefable still being used even after the soft boiled, still using that Wish and Protect, and Calm Mindsets on stall. Like it's still up there doing really good. And then all the other stats, you know, top 10's looking kind of good. This is nothing like, I don't think anything's surprising here. There's nothing that I'm like, oh my god, how is that up there? Like, there's no shot that that's a thing. Like, this all makes sense. But yeah, thank y'all, and I'll go back to the video. I hope you guys are interested in what these tier shifts mean for us, and I will catch y'all in the next video. See ya.